Hello, I'm Shaun McLaren, and let's do a draft. Got some sweet Oath of the Gatewatch cards coming out on Magic Online, so let's get to it. Alright, we got pretty good rare, Goblin Dark Dwellers, which is probably going to be the pick unless there's something fantastic going on elsewhere. Tar Snare, not really going to cut it. Walker of the Wastes is completely reasonable card. Like, even with just one Wastes, it's a 5/5 trample, which is pretty huge. But there's not like an Oblivion Strike to sort of contest the Goblin Dark Dweller's power, so pretty easy pick here. Yeah, fairly weak pack. The uncommons aren't really anything special. Harvester Troll isn't that good, and neither is Press into Service. Like, Press into Service works in some decks, but it's pretty narrow. It can be very powerful though, like not an unplayable card. Okay, got Drana's Chosen, which is powerful, and Boulder Salvo as realistically the only two cards we're interested in. Boulder Salvo is really good, and it's on color. Drana's Chosen is also fairly powerful. Just produces a stream of zombies. I think Boulder Salvo might be the correct pick, but I think I want to test Drana's Chosen more. It's a more powerful card. But I mean, removal is removal. I think I'm going to take the Drana's Chosen, even though Boulder Salvo might be correct. Black-red is a good combination, and there's nothing wrong with staying open early on. Roiling Waters is very good. There's also a Boulder Salvo and a Blinding Drone is good cards. And then a Weapons Trainer and Chitinous Cloak, which I don't mind at all. This pack has a bunch of good cards, a bunch of playables, but good land, and then all these are fairly good. But I think it's between Boulder Salvo and Roiling Waters. Roiling Waters is, again, I think the more powerful card. I think this time we'll go with the Boulder Salvo though, just because it works with the Dark Dwellers. Okay, we got Isolation Zone, Jwar Isle Avenger, Reality Hemorrhage, and a Visions of Brutality with no actual vision on the card. Probably just take the Reality Hemorrhage, even though it's definitely not as good as Isolation Zone, but works with the red kind of theme. So yeah, like Isolation Zone is double white, and we haven't really seen any other white stuff, so let's just take the red card. Okay, we got Wall of Resurgence, which I like a lot, Void Shatter, which is reasonable, Containment Membrane, which is reasonable, and a Path Warden, which is also very powerful. Nothing in our established colors yet. Nothing really notable for sure. I think we'll just take either the Wall of Resurgence or the Path Warden. red, white, or red, green. I think we'll just go with the wall, even since neither of those color combinations really excite me that much. The Flame Seeker's good, Sears Lantern I like a lot, Sweep Away's great, and Unknown Shores is good as well. The Flame Seeker's nice if we do end up in black, since it's an ally for the Chosen. Sears Lantern is great with ramping into Dark Dwellers or like casting it and a Boulder Salvo on the same turn. Sweep Away is probably the best card in the pack, but we're not in blue. I think I'll just go with the Sears Lantern, since I do like Sears Lantern a lot. Okay, here we've got Blinding Drone, Unexciting Eldrazi Aggressor, a Scion Summoner, and an Unknown Shores. And also a Searing Light, I guess, but I'm not a big fan of Searing Light. We do have a Wall of Resurgence, though. Blinding Drone, I don't actually mind taking it. I think it's between that and the Unknown Shores for me. I think I'll just go with the Blinding Drone, since we do have like a good blue-red deck. Other than we don't have any other blue cards. Gravity Negator's good. There's also Comparative Analysis and this thing. A couple of good green cards. Green is definitely looking to be open, but not a big fan of green, and it's the one color we still don't have any cards for, so I think I'll just take the Negator as a powerful card here. Ooh, Walker of the Wastes. There's also another Gravity Negator. I think I'll just take the Walker of the Waste, though. Now our how am I even sorting this? Now our blue-red deck is looking to be fairly enticing. There's a Negate and a Timber Gorge in case we do somehow end up in green or splash something. I think I'll just take the Negate. Oh my god. The Roiling Waters tabled. Okay. Well. And a Containment Membrane. So I think that makes us want to be solidly in blue-red at this point. Obtrusive Interference. Only serving to interfere in my awesome pile of picks. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, there's a waste for our Walker of the Waste, but we're not going to be taking that. There's also Ruins of Oran Reef, which we like more than the Wastes, since it kind of functions like that, like a waste for Walker of the Waste and for our other guys. Thought Harvester just has good stats, and it exiles cards in case we end up with some processors in the last pack. So I think we're just taking the Thought Harvester over like the Jwar Isle Avenger. They're similar. I think the Thought Harvester is better overall for us right now. Okay, there's a Vestige, a Negator, a Maw, an Overwhelming Denial, which is not that exciting, and some removal, so I think we're just taking the removal. even though Reality Hemorrhage, again, is not very exciting in this format, but it is still removable. Right now we actually only have the Sears Lantern for waste mana, so we're going to have to prioritize taking some of that. Okay, Birthing Hulk, still giving birth to the picture. Oh my god, Embodiment of Fury is ridiculously powerful. Just ridiculous stats for a limited card. Basically, 7 power for 4 mana, 7 trampling power. So we're going to take that over the Crumbling Vestige and hope we get some waste mana. Okay, there's a Hedron Crawler, which is probably the pick. We're passing some nice foil and Soothsayer, which I like a lot. Giving up the Boulder Salvo isn't that big of a loss. I would rather just have the waste mana and the ramp. It's basically serving a dual purpose. It's fixing these and providing ramp force, which is quite nice in our deck. And we already have a decent amount of removal and can expect to find some more. Alright, there's a wastes, which isn't like we're not jumping for joy to have it, but we aren't unhappy picking it over these cards. Warping Whale is not that great, and we're not like fully wasted yet, so you really need a lot of sources for Warping Whale to be at its best. Okay, there's an Avenger, also another Wastes. We kind of have enough for our sort of waste splash now, so it's actually we don't need the wastes for sure. It does help our walker, but I think probably the Jawar Isle Avengers is worth taking over it. There's also some card draw that we don't really need. We already have Roiling Waters and Sears Lantern for some card selection. Okay, Sweep Away over essentially nothing. We're not going to play the Troll Toll, or I guess the Ogre Toll. Will not be collecting. Gotta pay the Troll Toll if you don't take Consuming Sinkhole. Cinder Hellion's a solid creature. We don't really need it. Like, we have basically all premium cards here, other than this negate. There's also Mr. Krabs, which actually fits in our deck probably a little nicer, since we don't actually have any 3-drop creatures. Like, I probably don't even want to start this main deck, but it would be a very good sideboard card. Okay, there's Spark Mage's Gambit, which is reasonable, and Meandering River, which is also reasonable if we get like Converge cards or want to splash white for Wall of Resurgence. I think I'm going to take the Meandering River, since I'm not that big on the double ping card. Alright, passing again 2 green cards. Let's see, we have an Entangler and a Flame Seeker. Flameseeker is normally going to be the better card, but we actually have no other allies. So we'll just take the Entangler as a 2-drop. Alright, more crabs. We've got lots of crabs. Okay, this deck's looking very powerful. Got some nice bombs, lots of removal. Okay, there's a Herald, a Ruination Guide, and Incubator Drone, Stone Fury, and that's really it for us. I think we just gotta take the Herald. We could try and wheel it, since it doesn't seem like anyone is in blue-red. How good is Ruination Guide in our deck? Probably just better to take the Herald as the better card for our deck. Stone Fury is also reasonable. Yeah, let's just we don't need to do any risky business here. We can just take the good card. Processor Assault worked great with our Thought Harvester, but nothing else. There's not really too many ways to exile cards from the first set. Incubator Drone's good. Valakut Invoker's good. Predator is not really what we're looking for in this strategy. The Invoker might be the pick here. Incubator Drone works nicely with the Herald and Ramp. I think the Invoker has enough upside going into late game that we'll just take it. Okay, Reclaimer. Again, we only have this to exile cards right now. This pack is fairly weak for us, though. Like Slab Hammer is not going to be doing much. It is good with Embodiment of Fury, though. Yeah, let's just take the Reclaimer. We might find more ways to exile cards later on. Okay, Deathless Behemoth is just 6/6. Tidecaller is actually, it gets a lot worse thanks to the Oath cards, but it still has a lot of value, just like giving these lands flying, and it's not hard to pick up like one Awaken card in most drafts, although we haven't yet, so it loses a lot of value. And then the Infiltrator is going to work nicely with the Reclaimer, and it also has a big fat butt. Like, it's kind of an upgrade compared to the Crab. Deathless Behemoth, I don't think we really just need a 6/6. Alright, another Reclaimer over like Anticipate. I think it's worth it, because if we like pick up another Infiltrator, the Reclaimers are like becoming insane, and right now they're reasonable with just 2 activators. Okay, this pack has a bunch of good mediocre options. Channeler is obviously great, but our 5-drop slot is already filled quite tight, and we're not really ramping into too much. Anticipate actually would be nice in this deck. We have, like, it's really good with Goblin Dark Dwellers. It's great with Ulamog's Reclaimer, since we can either find the Reclaimer and then get back the Anticipate, or find a way to trigger the Reclaimer. So I think I'll just take the Anticipate there. Okay, another Invoker over basically nothing. It's just competing with the Predator, and we would rather have the defensive option that's great in the late game. Passing some sheer drops. Oh my. Another Reclaimer. That's a lot of Reclaimers. There's also this guy, which is a good ally, but obviously not for us. Alright, sure. Just take the drone. Sure. Really wish we had another benthic infiltrator. That would be so sweet. Oh, I guess salvage drone is an ingester that might end up running if we want to go all in on this strategy. Actually, the other Anticipate helps a lot if we want to go for like the styling combo-ish deck. Like we have a lot of playables. Actually, didn't pick up another good wasteland, like no blighted lands. We do have a couple Scion options though. Lots of playables. So if we wanted to go like full on processing, we'd want the Anticipates to find our enablers. Um, hmm. So many options. We could just like play our like cut a Reclaimer in the salvage drone and just sort of have these to do things. Like even a 5-mana 2/5 isn't the end of the world. Or we could fully embrace the exile, which seems like a much more fun thing to do and to try out. How good is Walker in our deck? It's actually fairly hard to cast, so we're probably just going to cut it, and which means we don't really need the wastes. The blinding drone is still fine. Just as a 1/3, and then sometimes it's going to be active for duty. This seems pretty good. We have a couple ramp cards, so 17 lands should be plenty, as well as the anticipates. 7 red, and then the anticipates can help us find our red sources. $10-7 or 9-8. The Goblin Dark Dwellers are going to be a little tricky to cast, and the Roiling Waters are going to be easier to cast since it's a 7-drop. So I think I'm fine dropping another mountain in. Sure, let's try this out. We are ditching a bunch of sweet cards in the sideboard. Like the gravity negators are great. The walker's great. I guess we sort of we neglected our wastes mana a little bit too much, and we're focusing on the exile portion of the deck. The incubator drones aren't really that exciting. I'm not really giving up too much there. The salvage drone is gonna be fairly unexciting, but even if it gets at 1 ingest off, that's a pretty big deal in this deck. We have so much stuff to rebuy with basically these cards are going to be insane amounts of value. Ulamog's Reclaimer. Too bad Roiling Waters is creatures your opponents control. Otherwise, we could just go off with Reclaimer and Roiling Waters. Anything else missed? Doesn't look like it. So yeah, let's just do it like this, and I'll be back in a minute for round 1 of exciting, sweet, sweet deck.